Welcome to my channel, HOA Chronicles. I never wanted a war. I just wanted peace in the home my late wife and I built together. The white fence she painted, the rose garden she loved, the porch swing where we'd sip coffee every sunrise. This house was her memory. But the HOA didn't care about memories. They cared about control. It started with a letter. Plain envelope. No warmth, no warning. Violation notice, unauthorized modifications to property. Fine $500 per day until compliance. I read it 3 times before it sank in. They were fining me for my ramp. The small wooden ramp I built after my knee surgery, so I wouldn't fall climbing those front steps. The letter called it an eyesore that violated community aesthetics. That ramp was my independence, my dignity. But to them, it was just another target. I went to the next HOA meeting, holding the notice in one hand and my cane in the other. The president, Linda, sat there, late 50s, perfect hair, pearl necklace, the kind of smile that's more insult than kindness. When I tried to speak, she cut me off. "Mr. Reynolds," she said, "rules are rules. You should have applied for approval before constructing anything on your property." I reminded her, my ramp was built after my surgery. I didn't have time to wait 3 weeks for committee approval just to be able to walk into my own house. She didn't care. "You can take it down," she said, tapping her pen, "or pay the fines." That night, I sat on my porch swing, staring at the ramp. My wife had always believed in kindness first, but she also used to say, "Don't let bullies hide behind rules." The next morning, he got to work. I gathered every photo, every medical document, every letter the HOA ever sent me. Then I started digging into their rules. I found something interesting in the HOA bylaws. Any modification related to accessibility was exempt from prior approval if medically necessary. And that wasn't all. Linda had violated several state-level accessibility laws by issuing fines over a medical accommodation. I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I wrote an email, short and polite. I attached copies of the bylaws, my doctor's note, and the Americans with Disabilities Act clause she had ignored. Then I added one line at the end. I'll be forwarding this to my attorney in the local news. If this harassment continues. 2 days later, I saw Linda on my porch, the same woman who once smirked at me in front of the whole neighborhood. This time, she looked nervous. "Mr. Reynolds," she began, "perhaps we can resolve this privately." I said nothing. I just pointed to the ramp, the same ramp she tried to destroy, and waited. That's when it happened. Her voice cracked. She started talking faster, softer, explaining that the HOA board was pressuring her, that she didn't mean to cause harm, that she was just following protocol. And then she cried. Right there, on my porch, the same porch where my wife and I used to laugh. But I didn't gloat. I just handed her a mug of coffee and said, "Now you understand how it feels when someone takes away your peace." The fines were dropped that evening. A written apology followed 2 days later, and the HOA quietly revised their policy to allow automatic approval for accessibility structures. A week after that, I noticed something new around the neighborhood. Ramps, handrails, wider walkways. People were helping each other, not hiding behind paperwork. And Linda, she stopped being HOA president a month later, but before she left, she slipped a note into my mailbox. It said, "Thank you for teaching me compassion." I still keep that note framed beside my wife's photo, because sometimes the best revenge isn't shouting louder, it's standing taller. And every morning, when I walk down that ramp, I smile, because I didn't just win against the HOA. I reclaimed my peace and reminded them that rules mean nothing without humanity.